Jai.
Jai on Mr. Bhagavad himself, the Bhakti Siddhanta, Saraswati, Prabhupada Maharaj.
Jai.
Ananta Guru Vaishnava.
Jai.
Namacharya Shri Haridas Guru Jai.
Jai.
Ramsi, Ahal, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Vittara, Sri Vasari, Sri Gaurava, Sri Radha Krishna, Gopal Gopinath, Samakunda, Radha Gopinath, Savadam Dam Kejai, Simaturatam Kejai, Vrindavan Dam Kejai, Navadam Dam Kejai, Nandamaya Manamaya, Simatram Siddhivasa, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Kejai,
Hari Hari Bol.
All glory to the Son of God.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to the Son of God.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to the Son of God. Glory is all glory to the Guru and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Narayana Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tattva Shivjivaye Astakaye Sabhadreshu Bhagavate
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. 2, text 17. Okay. Title of this chapter is Divinity and Divine Service. Sri Bhaktam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Vidyantastu hi patrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Srivantam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Vidyantastu hi patrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Srivantam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Vidyantastu hi patrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Someone try?
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Punya Shavana Kirtana Vidyantastu Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Punya Shavana Kirtana Vidyantastu Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna Sravana Kirtana
Hamadjis. Anyone to try?
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Vidyantastu Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Punya Shavana Kirtana
Punya Shavana Kirtana
Vidyantastu Bhadrani
Vidyantastu Yabhadrani
Vidunoti Suritsatam
Vidunoti Suritsatam
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Srimvatam Sukata Krishna
Punya Shavana Kirtana
Punya Shavana
Kirtana
Vidyantastu Yabhadrani
Vidyantastu Yabhadrani
Vidunoti Suritsatam
Vidunoti Suritsatam.
Seems that the matter just debate the man. Is it intentional? You deliberately did this or what? Alright. So it's good because sometimes the women are very shy, the ladies are very shy to participate in the recitation. So here it's a good training you're receiving from Dr. Devamuta. Good. So word for word translation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is confirmed. Sorry? Shila Bhajan available back to return to Swami Prabhupada. Kija. Shila Prabhupada Kija. Srimvatam. Those who have developed the urge to hear the message of Swakataha, his own words. Krishna, personality of Godhead. Punya, virtues. Sravana, hearing. Kirtanaha, chanting. Vidyantastaha, within one's heart. He subtly about drowning, desire to enjoy matter. We do not cleanses, sweet benefactor, Satan of the truthful. Translation: Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues, when properly heard and chanted. Please responsibly repeat. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues, when properly heard and chanted. Purport. Messages of the personality of God and Sri Krishna are not different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personal. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sastika declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid feature of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy psalm. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotee. When he sees that the devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path to Godhead. So I would like to add that men and wealth are also very difficult. Don't mind me, okay? Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of God. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because Every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from a state of disturbances. And gradually, all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind.
Ananjana Salakaya Chaksarunatana
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasudeva
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu
Shanti Bhakti Vedanta
This is a popular verse. It's a popular text in the Bhagavatam. Who says no? It's a popular text in the Bhagavatam. Sri Bhantam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Keta. Vedanta story Bhagavatam. We do not is So, Krishna is situated in the hearts of each and every one at the Paramatma. So, he knows all of us. He knows to the degree how we are sincere. And even we have difficulties in arriving at the point of engaging in devotional service, because of little sincerity we have, Krishna facilitates for us to come to devotional service. Otherwise, how some of us come to devotional services? What imagine? It's not something to be dreamt of. The Krishna is in the heart. In the Gita also we mentioned that he is situated in the heart of the living being, who knows that verse in the Gita. Yes? What is the verse in the Gita that Krishna says is situated in our hearts?
15 verses.
If you know, raise up your hand. Yes, let me ask the men first. Yes? Ask the men first because the men always feel they are superior. Is it? Is it? No? Alright. Yes? Can you speak to that? They will hear you. So, the Lord mentioned, thank you. The Lord mentioned that He's there in our hearts. He's the source of, if we want to forget, He facilitates. If we want to remember, He facilitates. The Lord is very passionate. Whatever we desire. Even the robbers, the dacoits, Lord Krishna facilitates the fulfillment of their desires. So, even the criminals, the Lord fulfills their desire because they are all part and parcel of the Lord. It's a bad child. If you have a stubborn child in the home, it doesn't mean that you're not going to clothe them, you're not going to feed them. So, even the criminals, Krishna facilitates the fulfillment of their desire. And not to speak of somebody who has some sincerity of purpose to engage in devotional service. Think about it. It facilitates the fulfillment of the desire of the criminal. What about someone who is desiring a saintly life? Someone who is desiring to serve the Lord? Will it not facilitate? Why not? And so it's mentioned here that the process of chanting and hearing the messages of Lord Krishna, they are the fulcrum or the foundation for making progress on the part of Bhakti, on the part of devotional service. Hearing and chanting the holy name together. Sometimes it looks like it's very easy, but no, it's not so easy. One has to have sufficient pious merit before one becomes attracted to chanting the holy name. That's why you see people who are not, a number of people, you may even give books or family members, you know, whatever, no matter how much you preach to them, they're not interested to take to chanting Krishna's names. Well, prasadam you give them, they may take, but to sit down and chant Krishna's names, it takes a lot of, pious merit. And the chanting and hearing of the holy name is in itself a punya, pious merit. So, it's funny, because it takes krita punya punja. It takes heaps and heaps of pious merit before one comes to the level of chanting Krishna's names. But even just the chanting of Krishna's name is in itself pious merit. It's a win-win game. So, we have to understand the importance of this process. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that one who strictly adheres to this process of hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord is an eligible candidate to go back to God. But he said there are some distractions. Distraction, material inebriety, attraction to the illusory energy. He mentions specifically about women, attracted to women. So I said being attracted to men too, so that it doesn't feel like as if, Prabhupada is gender bias. Huh? he only talks about women, so he talks and sometimes I remember sometimes the people, devotees, they preach so much against women. But I've also seen how men have caused women's fall down. I remember these Jehovah's Witnesses, you know them? Jehovah's Witnesses. They go door to door preaching. And sometimes you find men, who take advantage of the Jehovah's Witness ladies who go to door preaching. They are also preaching about God, okay, at their own level. And you find that some of these Jehovah's Witnesses, there are some instances where, they're eager to preach, they're eager to give the pamphlets out to people, and then some gentleman says, "Oh, I love the way you preach so much. Can you see me? Can you come preach to me in my house?" Yeah, it happens. And then when they go to preach to them, so-called preaching to them, especially when they go by themselves, they run into the water loop. So it's not only women who cause the downfall of people in devotional service, men also cause the downfall of women in devotional service. I've seen that in a number of cases. And so Prabhupada warns that we should be careful about wealth and sex. Wealth and sex attraction. Because sometimes also one is trading on the path of devotion, and there is so much of, if one is attracted to wealth can come in any way. And the wealth can come and drag you out from your devotional path. And sometimes there are some conditions. If you meet some real powerful people, and they're attracted to you, attracted to them, and then they tell you, no, you have to give up all this, you have to give up all of these practices. I know the case of one professor, before he got married, he was very, very, powerfully engaged in devotional service. Young professor, and when he got married, somebody or other got married to a non-devotee. And I've seen so many cases that like some Prabhupada disciples, they told me stories of their entanglement with non-devotees. In the beginning, when they get attracted to each other, then the opposite sex, if it's a man, he says, the man who is not the devotee, they say, well, I'll follow everything, let's just get married. And then they got married, they followed for some months or even some years. And for the case of this young professor, they even had a boy of 2 years old, and at 2 years old, she's from an aristocratic family. So, 2 years old, the boy was 2 years old, and then, the members of our family, they keep pressurizing her that, you have to stop all of this nonsense practice, no meat eating, no fish, no eggs. What is the purpose of this life? Huh? See, you're born in just a wealthy family. Don't follow this man like this. You've been enslaved. And then the professor's family also, they are antagonistic to devotional service. So he was in a dilemma. This side, they're against, the women's side, they're against. So the lady, the wife, one day just told him, "No, I'm not following anything again." So then the wife started eating meat and all this thing. And then he started also following the wife. That's how it went down. So, yeah, this is an example. I remember the case of one of my friends, Prabhupada side. He told me also his story. How, he said that one day they got attracted to each other. So, but he was being careful that this is a devotee, this is not a devotee. So, the lady convinced him that, no, I'm going to follow everything. Let's just get married, I'm going to follow everything. So he got in. Again, after some couple of years, the lady just came out to say, look, I'm not following any damn time. So what Prabhupada said is not just like a threat, but it's a real issue. And that is why, especially women are even weaker in terms of decision making. In a place like in India, the men dominate in marriage. And so we want our female devotees to understand that when you marry someone who is not a devotee, who is not a practitioner in devotional service, and what you're doing is you're really endangering. You make a devotional life an endangered species. Because you're not even the man promises you, it's going to follow. History always repeats itself. There is a high probability that at some point in time they will go back to the habits and then just say, look, I'm not following anything, I'm not going to follow it. I've seen a number of women devotees in India, their husbands, they are just supportive, they are not practicing. They're not opposed. But to take a decision of practicing, sitting down to chant, and all this things. No. So, bottom line is that what Prabhupada mentions here, we should be careful how we manage these resources, financial resources, and human resources, especially the opposite sex, so that we don't miss the chance of going back to God. As mentioned in the purport, if one is practicing Krishna consciousness, he is guaranteed to go back to God. Why not? There are few people who are practicing. You think it's so easy, but if it is so easy, why only few people are practicing? The earth has 8 billion people. How many billion people are practicing Krishna consciousness? Perhaps not up to 1 billion. So we are a minority. Why? Because the process, it's like you don't walk in the streets and then find many PhDs living on the same street. No, because it takes very courageous people to pursue that level of education. So Krishna consciousness is the highest level of lifestyle, the highest level of spirituality. And so something that is of a pinnacle nature, not everyone can climb the mountain. So not everyone is going to practice Krishna consciousness. Let's understand this. We're preaching that not everyone is going to practice Krishna consciousness because majority of people don't have sufficient punya, don't have sufficient pious credit. We need to facilitate their growth, but we should not expect that everyone we meet is just going to come and sit down and chant the rounds of Maharaj. And therefore, those who are endeavoring on this path, they are very special, and we should treat them like special people. So, the essence of human life, the very essence of human life, or the quintessence of human life, is to become a devotee of Krishna. The ultimate purpose of our existence is to become a devotee of Krishna. We have so many agendas on the planet. Everything we are doing, whether we become multi-billionaires, we get crores and crores of rupees every day from services to society. But those crores of rupees they're not going to save us from the cycle of death and debt. And therefore, whatever resources we are able to acquire by dint of our pious merit, we should dovetail, probably using part of God, we should dovetail source resources in the service of the Lord. And so it is important for us to practice what we are preaching. It is important for us to become practitioners of Krishna consciousness. And by the practice of Krishna consciousness, chanting, hearing and chanting, we are accumulating lots and lots of pious merit. And those accumulation of such pious merit help us or facilitate our extrication, our exit from the prison of birth, death, disease, knowledge. Who likes disease? Who likes old age? Who likes death? Nobody. I'm not conducted any quantitative research, but I can guarantee you, nobody likes disease. Nobody likes death. Look, that's an axiom that, that is just is truth, all pervasive. You need to conduct an experiment to figure that out. But ask anybody, do you like to go to the mall? What type of mall? Mall where you can buy old age. Say, no, not me. I'm not going with you to that shopping. Or you tell me, somebody ask them, can you go with me for shopping? Let me go buy some gifts. What is that gift? Disease. They say, well, I'm not going for that type of show. If you say you want to tell people how to be healthy, yes, they will listen to you. But how to get sick? What is that? So we have been placed in a position which we don't like. And majority of people, they don't even reason it. They don't even think about it. I mean, it's like I was asking some young students, college students. One of them was studying law. So I asked her, why you choose to study law? He said her father is a lawyer. Her grandfather was a lawyer. Her great-grandfather was a lawyer. And so people just, they follow the flow. Well, if following the flow of being trained or acquiring facilities, acquiring skills like your parents, that makes your life easy. For instance, if your parents are lawyers and you pursue law, you have a chambers there ready for you to take over. It's called succession planning. But people should use their intelligence to be able to figure out what they need to do with their lives. It's not that you see what everyone else is doing and then you follow. You see what your parents are doing and then you follow. You see what your grandparents have done and then you follow. And that is why we have the discriminate intelligence to figure out what is best for us. What is the ultimate purpose of this life? We've been saying, well, I love my parents so much. I love my family members so much. I've never seen anybody who has died and family members throw away even a plastic spoon. Plastic spoon. One small plastic spoon. They don't throw away. Life goes on. And I saw those things before I came to the devotional service. So, I mean, I was not really interested in family members at least, I know, at the age of 20 years. Because I studied all those things. Another thing I studied, another thing I examined in society is how people make them they're very defensive. So I thought, I remember when I was a teenager, I used to have this idea that everyone in this world is a self-willed lawyer. They defend themselves. They do something and then defend themselves. So, society in such a way that self-gratification is the purpose of majority of people. And so if you go to present Krishna consciousness or chant Krishna's name, let's go to the Bhagavatam class, let's go to Sunday feast class, except you really convince them that, for most people, you convince them that there's a feast, powerful feast. And they say, let's go. Because the palate, people want to satisfy the palate. And our process is that of feeding the palate for Krishna Prasad. Baba mentioned, we just replace, we don't deny people of eating, but then instead of eating burger and becoming more and more contaminated, we should take prasad. And that prasad needs to purify us. And even that prasad has to be cooked by someone who is a practitioner. Because the person who cooks the food, their consciousness imparts on the food, and those who eat it, they are impacted by that person's consciousness too. So it's important for us to take our programs very seriously. Programs entails coming to program, coming to Maharaj, coming to class, coming to group. And this is all part of the Shravanam Kirtan, which is necessary, punya, pious merit. And so we have to motivate each other, we have to help to our behavior should inspire each other to participate in the programs that Srila Prabhupada sent down for us. A very wonderful legacy. He said that he left behind, that people even yet to be born can come to benefit from this legacy, spiritual legacy. He said the norms, he said standards, that we just have to follow and we'll get the same results. So, see Krishna, the personality of God, who is the Paramatma in the heart. He benefits, it fulfills our desire. Everything we are not perfect, because we have a sincere heart to serve the Lord, our contaminations, the Lord becomes like a scavenger to remove all those debts. Can you imagine how lovely the Lord is? He becomes a scavenger to clean the house, the mirror of the heart, which is contaminated with dust, with so many unnecessary desires. So what is required is just for us to be sincere, and the Lord will facilitate the spiritual positive change. We don't need to work too hard on our own. Simple sincerity of purpose, truthfulness, sincerity of purpose. I told you the story of Satyakama, right? Did I?
Incorrectly.
Yes.
I incorrect. Have you heard the story of Satyakama? This disciple of Rishi Gautama. He had, he asked at some point in time he wanted to go to take shelter of a guru. So he asked his mother, Mama, who is my father? Because when you go to meet the guru in those days, they ask you, what's your gotra? So the mother told him that he was playing around with several men, so she didn't even know who impregnated her. And therefore, she couldn't tell her father, his father. Father, I don't know. I just have fallen. He became a product of the fall. So father, no way. So he went to meet Rishi Gautama and sought for shelter to be his student, to be his disciple. And Rishi Gautama asked him, what is the gotra? I only accept Brahmins. So he said, this is what his mother told him. I told him. Mother said, doesn't know his father. It's the circumstance why the mother couldn't figure out his father. So go to me and say, oh, I will accept you as a disciple. You're very sincere. You're the Brahmin. So, the Lord wants to see how we are sincere. And just like Gautama accepted Satyakama, He will help us. The Lord will help us from within the heart to cleanse all of the impurities that are there in the heart. Qualification is sincerity. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the class. Maharaj, all the process Prabhupada has given the perfect system of 4 regulative principles that protect us from sinful life, and he has given us morning program, regular classes. Then, as Krishna is also saying, and we are also explaining that Suhrit Satam benefits from the truthful devotee. So how to be truthful and sincere in our practice, not to be duplicitous.
Yeah, like we should be like the case of Satyakama is a model. Yeah. A model that is a role model for Satyakama becomes a role model for us, that we should be sincere, we should be truthful, and Krishna in the heart, he sees that we are truthful, we are sincere about cultivating devotional service. We're not being duplicitous. We're not trying to play games with Krishna. So Krishna is the gambler. So if we try to play games with Krishna, we are bound to be defeated. Yeah. And Krishna plays all type of games. If you read some of his pastimes, even with the gopis, he plays some horrible games with anybody. Yeah. So someone thinks that they are smart. Krishna is smart. Is smartness personified. So we can play games with Krishna. Yeah. So if you understand that nothing is hidden from Krishna, then we just need to be truthful. We need to be sincere in our endeavor. We need to make efforts to follow up with the schedule of the programs. And we become purified by following the schedules of the programs. Devotional service is not about your personal, it's not only about your personal effort. We also need mercy. And that mercy comes, like the Satyakama got the mercy of Rishi Gautama. The mercy comes when we are sincere. The mercy comes when we are truthful. The mercy comes when we are endeavoring sincerely in devotional service, despite the challenges. There's some people, they have the weakness that, if even some justices, they have the weakness that if you tell them the truth, they will just pardon you. They will say, oh, you're a false offender. We quit you. We quit this case. Because you're just sincere, you told the truth. So, in materially speaking, even truthful, to be sincere, truthful can melt people's heart and they will forgive. So if we are truthful in devotional service, we're seeking the Lord sincerely. It's in our heart, He knows what the obstacles that we are confronted with, and He could just remove those obstacles. It becomes like the cleaner of the house, cleans the house of our heart for us, and we don't even pay Him. The payment is just being sincere. Yes, so devotional service is very sweet. Susukam Ade, joyfully performed. And that joy comes when we are sincere, and the Lord has to do the cleansing of the dirty things on the mirror of our heart, cleansing of the material desires on the mirror of our hearts. Yeah. Does it make some sense?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Is that the same answer for avoiding seventh offense also? Because you do sinful activities on the strength of holy name. Because after coming to KC, okay, sincerely trying, but willfully you're trying to play games with Krishna, and that's bad and doing it.
Yeah, we should never try to play games. Krishna is a gambler of cheats. He's a gambler of cheats. There are cheats, but he's a gambler, so he's the chief, among them. So we should be sincere in our devotion endeavor. We should not deliberately commit sins also on the basis of devotional endeavor. We know the process cleanses our sinful reactions, and therefore we should take advantage of that and not to commit more sins. Yes.
Thank you.
Any comments? Any other comments? Or what we do?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, humble offices on the street. You mentioned here, Maharaj, that if a person engages in devotional service, going back to God, it is guaranteed. So I had a doubt regarding this only. So Srila Prabhupada said many times that we should have one short goal to go back to Godhead, and in many other purports also it's mentioned that it is very difficult going back to Godhead in this lifetime only. It might take some more lifetimes. So Maharaj, thing is that I am confused here. Can you clear my confusion?
Sure. I can clear our confusion. Prabhupada mentioned, the going back to God, that is a very big challenge. That just like Satyakama was very open to Gautama, he was very sincere. Gautama accepted. Now, when the other part of the story is that Satyakama was entrusted with some responsibility. Gautama gave him 100 sickly cows. And he said, you go pasture these cows and come back with 1,000 vibrant, healthy cows. So Gautama, in obedience and sincerity of service, sincerity of purpose, he took these cows out for pasture. And he was able to fulfill the desires of Gautama Rishi. In fact, not only did he meet that mark, but 3 devatas, they came to instruct him. There was Vayu, Indra, and the sun god. They came to instruct him. So by the time he came back to the ashram, he was effulgent with spiritual knowledge. What is it? Sincerity of purpose. Sincerity. And when he came, so even the demigods, they became, favorably disposed to him. He came to help him out. He came to instruct him. And then, when he came back, He rendered an account to his guru, and the guru was very pleased. But then, after even getting so much spiritual knowledge from the demigods, out of his sincerity, he surrendered to his guru. So Gautama was amazed by, Satyakarma's sincerity of purpose. He had so much of knowledge, and Prabhupada gave some comment in the conversation he had with some people in Bombay about humility. You can be sincere only when you're humble. And someone who has so much of knowledge, he could just rationalize that, well, I don't need anything from anybody. I don't need any knowledge from anybody. Why should I surrender to him? And we also find in the case of highly placed or influential people in society, influential people in government, Sanatana Goswami, and he gave up everything when he met Bhakti Mahaprabhu. He acknowledged the fact that he didn't know anything. So humility and sincerity